Tea practice again. I don't get tired of this ever. Welcome to day 33 of our daily tea practice. Today, I'm always excited, but I'm extra excited because today we're doing something completely new that I have no idea what I'm doing. We're gonna try to do some tea pour over. We're gonna try to put some of these leaves on top of a filter and then pour over them slowly with water to try to see how that extraction method changes the way that the tea tastes. And then we'll do a side-by-side with, the same material. I know I had a guy one in the photo, but I was like, hey, what the hell, dude? We gotta use the same materials, right? So we're gonna use 2 pitchers, one pour over technique, and then one just regular infusion. Yeah. So that's what we're doing today. How's it going to friends? Eric, you're always super early. Jeremy, bonsoir, wherever you are. Outside the city limits of Montreal. Luke CF2. Tea Traveler, Nicholas, I saw you this morning. That was really, really awesome. It was the first thing I saw this morning was your face. I hadn't even looked at Steven yet. 23 Axolotl is here, Dr. Felix, Asolite, and Yasir 6752, and Fish Anywhere. How's it going, Joe? How's it going, Franklin? I know you're a fish, dude. You can't understand me, but that's okay. So we're going to be doing tea pour over. I've never done this method before. This is going to be a little bit different. So we were actually inspired by our friend Delphine, who is Delphine Gingras. Jeremy, help me. Delphine, Gingras on Instagram, and also Veggie Delphine on Discord. She has been posting a lot of tea pour over infusions lately. We were also inspired by our friend Modern Teaist, Michael, who just said one day, I wonder what it's like to do tea pour over. I've always wondered this too for myself, but I never really thought about making it happen until, I saw Delphine do it, and I'm like, oh my god, that's amazing, and yeah. So Delphine says that she learned about this method last year at World Tea Expo when one of the producers from China taught her how to do it using his green tea. And so the first tea that I'd like to try to use is a green tea from China. It's going to be a Bilou-Chen from Tea and Whisk, okay? So pretty buddy. And what Delphine has told us about this method that I've never tried before is that this will tend to bring out more aromatics from the tea, so more fragrance, just more smell, and it'll be at the kind of sacrifice of having more texture and flavor. So I picked out 3 teas today that are more kind of high in aroma, stuff that I really want to bring out the aroma out of, you know what I mean? So yeah, we'll preheat these guys, and then we'll weigh them out, I guess? Should we weigh them out? Yeah, I want to weigh them out because I want to see if... I want to know that the result is just from the infusion and not from the amount of tea we're using, okay? So, yeah, we will weigh them out. Hello to... Who else just popped in? Yeah, that was Geoff. How's it going, Geoff? We're doing tea pour over today. I've never done pour over coffee in my life. Anyone do pour over coffee? By any chance? If you do pour over coffee, you'll have done this method before, I guess. With coffee, I've never done pour over coffee before. So I'm interested to see how this method will affect the tea. We'll do 3 grams for each. And I don't usually weigh out my tea, but I want to make sure that the effect that we're seeing here is from the tea itself and not from... the infusion material, the infusion method, itself, and not how much tea I'm using. So yeah, this is perfect. The 3 grams over here for the filter, and then we'll do 3 grams just standard. And I want to do a side-by-side of this because I just want to see how it changes the profile of the tea. Delphine says again that this will be better for aromatics, bringing out more of the kind of, what you smell from the tea. And that just regular infusion will be better for bringing out the kind of texture and body and flavor of the tea. She's tried it out since with black tea, and yeah, I think that's it. We will do some black tea later today. We'll start with the Chinese green, just like her friend taught her to. Yeah. Tao, welcome to the stream, and Heidi B. Mary, and also Neil. We're gonna try doing some tea pour over. Neil, I'm glad that you're here. Any tips for doing pour over at all whatsoever? Our friend Neil is originally hailing from the coffee world, so Neil, maybe you could tell me just what to avoid. I imagine that the extraction of tea will be a little bit different pour over style versus coffee, because number one, coffee is ground, and it's going to be a little bit more even and kind of same surface area for every little bit of coffee. Whereas with the tea, I tried to pick a tea that's relatively even, because as you're going to pour over, I imagine you'll want there to be a pretty even extraction of the tea leaves. You don't want like leaves that are part really, really big and part really, really small, because then they'll kind of infuse at different rates. That's not such a big deal when you're just dumping the leaves into the pot. Like we're going to do for this guy over here. This is a kind of like our control. I'm going to brew it the same way I usually would. And then we're going to use some cup-a-ronis. No, we'll use these. Yeah. To pour into, and then our tasting cups. Yeah. While we're setting this up, let us know what you're drinking today. Happy Sunday to you guys. I don't even know what day it is anymore. Oh!
Nice catch.
I caught you guys! You guys okay? Wow, I saved you guys. Wow. And I saved myself too. Wow, I'm a superhero. They're probably, what the hell? Okay, so Jeremy's having some Korean fried rice. That was a comment that I was reading. I just got so excited about the fried rice. I hope that you're impressed, Steven. That's some like skills right there. I got like some like fragile items on the table, some hot water, some like way out tea. Is everyone okay? Wellness check. Wellness check. Okay, I'm glad you're all okay. Yeah, I just got too excited about the Korean fried rice. Just too excited about all of this. Delphine, this is all your fault. I see that you're on the stream right now. Yeah. Cool, I'm glad you guys are okay. Let's see. Let's see. Joe says, AeroPress for coffee, no pour over for me. I actually like pour over a lot for coffee. So I'm really interested to see how this goes over with the tea. And I was also thinking Japanese sencha. That's something I would really like to try out. I think because of the kind of even... I still like laughing. The even size of the leaves, it's going to make it easier to do a nice like steady pour over. But yeah, today we'll start with the Chinese green. And then there's this really basil-y Bhutan green from, I think both In Pursuit of Tea and Camellia sinensis in Canada carry this tea. It's a Bhutan green tea. I think there's only one major estate in Bhutan, so I think it is the same tea. It smells like basil and tomatoes. We call it the pizza tea because basil and tomatoes together. I want to bring up more of the aromatics of that tea. And then we have a black tea. When I put this out on the table, we thought of you, Jeremy. Controversy! First Flush Darjeeling is a black tea. I even forgot for a moment that it was a black tea. But basically all teas that are high in aroma, that I don't mind sacrificing a little bit of the texture to see if the aroma comes out a little bit better. Yeah, so we'll see. No need same material, glass cups. Okay, Eric, we'll do that for you. I'll do anything for you, Eric. Glass cups? Do we got our glass cups in here, Steven? Yeah, we do. I'm always prepared, my friends. Yeah. Boom. Eric, your wish is granted. Glass everything. Alright? Yeah. Oh, I'm glad everyone's still talking. We saved everyone. You're welcome, you guys. Yeah. Let's preheat these, and I promise we'll get to what we came here today, not to be kicked off the table. To do this pour over. So I will do this one first, No. Yeah, I will do this one first. Steven, can you just time me for reference how long this infusion is going to take? Let's see what our temperature is at right now. In between all our shenanigans right now, this water has gone down in temperature. Neil says, yes, I think the similarities between coffee and tea will be few in terms of pour-over technique. I'm glad, because I have really never done it before. So Ace of Lighty over in Qatar is having some silver needle so late at night. Oh my goodness. Heidi, I'm sorry that you're dizzy. At least we caught you though. I'll always be there for you. T-Path is here. Tyler from Hakuna Matala. Ooh, some coffee friends for sure. And Dino Lencioni, T Blossom, Michael Pfeiffer, and Mateo 22441. You missed out on our little mini tea earthquake right there. It's okay. Yeah, I'll make it up to you guys. So we'll do 90 degrees Celsius for each. This is a Bilo Chun green tea from Tea and Whisk here in Vegas. I picked a Buddy green tea because Delphine, you said that you've had really good results with Buddy green teas. And I think the fact that it's buds will help the tea kind of maintain more sweetness and not overbrew so easily, because the buds, by their design, like by nature, they're meant to protect the tea leaf from becoming bitten up too much by insects, or it's just to protect the tender inside of the bud. That's why the bud is a fuzzy part. The hair is very soft if you touch it, but it's actually quite hard. I've brewed tea with just the hairs of the buds before. They're very robust, so that's why Silver Needle will tend to want actually higher temperatures. It takes a little bit of effort for us to infuse teas with a little bit of the fuzz on them. So that's why I'm choosing this Bilo Chun today. Bilo Chun is also Green Snail Spring for those of you who prefer the English name. Yeah. Okay. Ready? I will just do this just even style. Just one single point. I'm not going to baby it at all. So this will be our control. This will be just a standard kind of, we're just making tea, right? And then I'm going to fill it up to about 120 ml. I know that these pitchers are about 120 ml, so we'll use the same amount for each. So that's going. And then this one, we don't have the time. All right, we'll do the pour over here. I'm just going to try, I've never done pour over before in my life, but what we know from tea brewing is that we want to do things evenly, right? So whatever I'm wetting, I want to wet it pretty much evenly. Like, I don't want to wet the middle too much compared to the side. I want to have all of them kind of evenly exposed to the pour from the spout. So I'll do my best, I guess. And I don't know, coffee people like to do swirls. I think that the back and forth will be a little bit more effective, right? Yeah, the coffee swirl looks very attractive, but I don't know how to do that. So I'll just do this back and forth motion. Whoop. Wow, that's fast. Holy crap. Was that 20 seconds to do that? Right? Pretty fast, I'd say. And then we'll pour them into these glasses here. So we'll do a 1.5 minute infusion on this guy. Yeah, pretty much. And then this guy I'll just pour here for the purpose of having more or less the same temperature from the decants. Definitely a big difference in the color. Yeah, we did it. And we're using 90 degrees Celsius, which is, now I don't even know the Fahrenheit conversion for that. 90 degrees Celsius is like 185 degrees Fahrenheit? I don't know. Let's see, how much is it? 90 degrees Celsius is 190 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, more or less around there. And yeah, this is the pour over one. It took me about like 10 to 15, 20 seconds. Less than that, right? It was pretty quick for 120 ml of water. It is much lighter than the kind of standard brew. And that's to be expected, I guess. The standard brew was a lot longer exposure to the water. The leaves are actually in the water. Here, the leaves are never inside the water. They're just kind of having the water pour over them. Okay. Wow, that is rare aromatic for such a really, really, really fast steep like that. And that's more bold. Then we'll try them out. I'm excited to try this, you guys. Thanks again, Delphine, for the inspiration on this. Yeah, for those of you popping in, we're doing a side-by-side of just a standard brew of tea versus a pour-over using a little filter to help kind of catch the leaves. Kind of like coffee, in the sense it's a pour-over, but besides that, not very many similarities. Wow, that is really aromatic. Holy crap. Wow. That's really bright and high. It is lacking a little bit of like oomph and flavor, but the aromatics are really, really pretty on that. Much different results. There's definitely more flavor in this one, but there's so much kind of brightness and high notes going on with the other one. I'm tempted to do it one more time. I think Delphine said that sometimes she'll... Did I understand this correctly, Delphine? If it's not strong enough, you'll just go over it one more time. Let me do that one more time. I'm just curious. Here, Steven, and let me let you try it before we do it again. Steven's like, what the heck, Ree? Ooh, the color got much more dark after doing it the second time. Okay. What do you think? That's the first one. Here's the second one. Also, whoever called Steven my Instagram boyfriend, he's my tea boyfriend, okay? He's my everything boyfriend. Get you guy who does it all.
He called me a tea Instagram boyfriend, so we covered both bases.
Oh, that's not right. Was that you, Geoff? I think that was you. Yeah, it's interesting. I am looking for a little bit more body and just oomph in the tea. But now I'm interested to see how it turns out with the second kind of do-over, Delphine. Wow. That's much better. Here, try this. And this one... I'm getting wigged out by the glass cups, though. Just me. I'm not used to drinking out of these for tests. Sorry, Eric, I tried. Okay, let's try it again. Wow! Actually, the second pass with the pour over has a lot of the body and flavor I'm looking for, and then none of the bitterness. This one actually developed a little bit of kind of like bite at the very end, which actually makes me prefer the pour over in this preparation. Wow, that's really sweet and high and bright. It's almost like if you put this tea in like an Instagram filter, you just went all the way up brightness, but you didn't like sharpen it too much. There's not so much bitterness, there's not so much dryness. All the really, really high notes came out. Neil, why does that make sense in terms of just the pour over technique? I wonder if there's anything we can just a little bit compare from coffee to tea, or something if anyone's ever done something like this before. What have you kind of seen from this? Thinking about the way that the tea leaf is structured, a lot of the sweet compounds should be at the very kind of top of the leaf, the top layer, and the buds tend to be the most kind of aromatic part of the tea leaf. So as you're going deeper into the tea leaf, you reach more of the, I'd say like carbohydrate. I don't know. Gosh. I'm like out of my depth here. It's definitely, there's a difference between the top layer of the tea leaf and the bottom layer of the tea leaf. I explained it a lot better with oolong because oolong is bruised and so those starches come up to the surface. But with green tea, I wonder what's causing this kind of first and second infusion only to become so aromatic. I guess we're just not extracting a lot of the bitter compounds yet. Bitterness tends to come from over-extraction, and this is definitely not an over-extraction on our part. from the pour over. You're not letting the leaves kind of open up so much. You're just kind of flash rinsing them and kind of taking what you want. Okay, so Neil says in coffee we bloom the grounds before the full infusion. So I would add a very small amount of water and then wait before pouring the rest of the water. I guess we kind of did the same thing here, because for those of you just joining us, we're doing a pour over technique kind of test, and we're using this Bilochan. It started out looking like this, right? So you can see how much of a difference the dry leaves are from the wet leaves. Our first infusion, we were pouring over these wet leaves here. These dry leaves here. And they're they're dry and they're fuzzy. And so all that hair is trapping air inside the leaves. And so it takes a little bit of time for the water to trickle down and kind of get everything wet. So in the first infusion, it makes sense that it's very kind of light and not a lot happens. We're really just getting the surface of the tea leaf without really penetrating inside the bud, the material. But on the second go, by the time I put the second kind of pour over on, the leaves already look like this. Yeah. And so I guess we kind of bloomed it. Does that kind of make any kind of parallel for you, Neil? Or Tyler, who's also here? I'm kind of interested to see what happens if we do it again. Because they're saying they do multiple rounds of water to do a pour over. And I like that idea because I feel like there's still stuff inside the tea leaves that we'd like to try to kind of extract. So that's a third kind of do over with that. And let's see if there's any difference with a third pour over. Same leaves, same water, really. So this is second, this is third. Oh, I didn't preheat that. Preheat your stuff, guys. Wow. That's a lot more complex than the one that's been steeped normally. Wow. There's like this tart sourness, kind of nutty thing going on that's in the pour over infusion done 3 times over than the one that's been steeped just regularly. There's a lot more complexity. I don't know why. You would think that because the tea is being steeped with like progressively cooler water, like that's kind of the worry I have here, is that as we're doing the pour over and over again, we're infusing at lower temperatures each time. You would think you wouldn't bring out as much complexity, but this is more complex. And by complex, I just mean, I know it's like just a umbrella term. There's just more going on. There's more notes, there's more just aroma, more interest. This is definitely not true for the very first infusion. For the second, it kind of evened out, but now the third I think is much more, just more going on than the typical infusion. Here, Stephen, try it. This is 3 times over. The aftertaste also is really pretty. Right? There's a lot. It's like really dancey. Here, try this. I can't wait to what's going to happen with like the other teas. I know we're only in the first tea, but I have that Thunder Dragon Green from In Pursuit. I think also Camellia sinensis covers this particular plantation. It's a tea that we nicknamed a basil tea. It's just so basil-y and tomato-y. I love the aroma of it. I'm wondering if we can bring it out more with this kind of infusion. And then a Darjeeling First Flush, because Darjeeling First Flushes are very aromatic. Which one do you like better, Stephen? You don't know. The correct answer as a tea Instagram boyfriend is, I like them both, Ree. They're both great. You're so great, Ree. Screw you, Jeff. Yeah, the chat's moving really, really fast, so I'm sorry if I haven't gotten to your comment yet. But I'm really interested in all your ideas, and if I missed something, let me know again. Eric says, I just remembered, isn't that Sumatra Instant Tea Brewer also pour over? I haven't tried that, actually. Yeah. Delphine, I don't use that much water at a time when I do it. I found that less water gave better results. We use 120 grams for 120 ml of water, which is 120 grams of water for 3 grams of tea. So I don't know if that's more or less than your ratio. Yeah. And Claire says the actual force of the water moving through aids in extraction. It's probably enough to get the aromatics you steep better, while the other components, the butter components, need a bit more to become more noticeable. Yeah, it's just changing for sure. Those of you who are joining us just now, I saw Arby, Rabin, how's it going? Bonsoir from Las Vegas, Lohan T, and Shiloh, and Choco Anywine, and Tetsuko, and Gold Spruce. Welcome to our really interesting so far pour-over tests. First pour-over, which, you know, is me just being very clueless about pour-over techniques. I didn't bloom the tea leaves. Do you think that's a proper term that we can use for tea leaves too, and not just coffee grounds? Tyler and Neil and anyone else who's worked with coffee, I didn't bloom the tea leaves first. So I liked the first infusion okay. It was very aromatic, but yeah, it just smelled good, but it was lacking some oomph. And then I copied what Delphine did, which is to just do it one more time, which incidentally is what the coffee people do. Yay! So yeah, and the second was really good, and then the third kind of just do-over with the same liquor over the same leaves. Much more complex. Yeah, what is going on? I really dig it. I'm very impressed by the results, to be honest. The first one was more interesting than really like full kind of impactful for me, but now that we know that we need to bloom or open up the tea leaves with the first kind of couple go-overs with the water, this is a really interesting technique. Yeah. And the standard one, maybe because I had the lid on, but I just wanted to make it as standard as possible. I do tend to leave my lid on for a very fast kind of hot infusion of green tea. It's very good. It's kind of the classic Chinese green tea infusion. This is a very good green tea, again, that Bilo Chen from Tea and Whisk, so even if I'm using quite hot water, it's standing up very well, but there is definitely that kind of dark, what would you call that? Like overbrewed green tea at the edges kind of taste that we eliminated with the pour over. Yeah. Yeah. And that's dry. You get that dry, astringent thing going on. It's not very bitter, but it's definitely astringent. Wow, so the texture of this one has a little bit of that sparkling texture you get sometimes from really high-end green teas, but it's kind of in and out, so that it's not just drying, it's more like lively and not astringent in a bad way. So you don't have that chalky mouth thing going on that I get with this. That's really good. Steven, wow. Yeah. Okay, so the one downside is that if you don't like your green teas to be tart, you might not like this as much, because I feel like the dryness in this transforms into like a tartness here. The closest I can think of is like that tartness you get when you eat almond skins. I know that's very specific, but it's like a tasty kind of tart dryness, whereas this one is just dry. I really, really like it. I want to do another tea. Yeah, you guys down? I know that some of you are saying you want to try this, so please do, and please let us know what you find out from your experiments, because it's just a couple teas. We were talking this morning, me and Delphine, which tea should we do? There's so many. Delphine's tried it with Jinjin before, which sounds interesting as well. Some Thailand black tea. She's tried it with the original green tea that inspired all of this from Camellia, which is the Weishan, I think, from them. Yeah, and then Jeffrey said that Japanese sencha might be good. I'm really interested to see how this changes things. It's almost like flash steeping, but even faster than what anyone can humanly do with a gaiwan, you know? And also, we are sacrificing a little bit of that temperature, because as you're pouring over the leaves over and over, just the act of kind of pouring into another vessel and then kind of pouring it over again and over again, the temperature will lower. I wonder if that's helping with adding more kind of interest to the flavor, though, because as you're dropping the temperature, you're extracting things a little bit differently each time. So, yeah. That's that's all theory, though. The better way to learn is to just do it again. Let's do this again, Steven. This is fun. Which one do you guys want to do next? Do you want to do the basil one? The Bhutan green? Or do you want to do a first flush Darjeeling? Or something else? If there's something else that you're just dying to try, and you don't have it on hand right now, because I'd rather you go try it yourself, of course. But let me know what you guys would rather do. We've already gone through a whole kettle of water. I measure my interest in an experiment by how many kettles of water we go through. By the way, brought to you by the Tea Curious Water recipe. Neil, you know how good this recipe is, right? It's so good. That's the benefit of using the same water formula, is that if Neil does this with the same tea, same teaware, we're going to have very similar results. And if there's a difference, it's easier for us to compare because we're not thinking about how our water is making it different. You know? It's still not going to be exact, but I just love that water. Whenever we have these days where we can't formulate it, we're just, why? There's that one time you brewed some Denonpur with like fridge water, and it was so disappointing. It's just so bad. It's like when you date someone who's like kind of okay, and then it's like okay, so you live with it, you don't notice, and then when you break up with them, and then you date Steven, you're like, wow, what have I been missing out on? So even if you think your water is okay, you know, even if you think your water is okay, you should break up with it and go date the Tea Curious water, because it's so good. Yeah. Anyway, Neil says, I asked him if bloom is okay to use for prepping the tea. Bloom refers to something specific in coffee regarding the release of gas, but I say I use the term anyway. Yeah. I think that's fine. Stephen P. Wood is here, Trekking Buddha is here, welcome guys, and Green Kitty. I like waking up, says Heidi. Waking up the tea. Bloom in it, waking it up. Yeah. Heidi's gonna try it with Kamairicha. I like that idea. Try it up some green teas. Yeah, let me know if you guys are gonna, you know, test it out yourselves as well. We always learn better together. And one person's data, it's just my own technique now, and then now with Delphine's, you know, two people comparing notes is going to get a lot more done than just one person kind of banging her head against the wall. It's me. It's fun to compare notes, so let us know if you guys do test something out. You all want me to do the Darjeeling. That's because you guys have never had this basil tea, but okay, we'll do the Darjeeling. Yeah. We'll do the Darjeeling. This one is the Seren Clonal from Teavolution in the Philippines. This is from my friend Cheryl, who is amazing. Yeah, she gifted this to me last year when I saw her in Manila. I hadn't been back to my home country in 12 years, and I felt really, really guilty about it because I've been to Taiwan like 5 times, and to India, Nepal, and China, and family back there was like, the fuckery, like, I mean, they don't curse. I'm American, that's what I learned here. But they're like, Ree, like, why don't you come back and, like, you know, drop by Manila? You're always in Asia, you know? I'm like, but there's tea out here. There's no tea in Manila. But I finally went back to Manila last year, and Cheryl is amazing. She's a ceramicist as well. Has incredible taste in tea. Yeah, she's great. And I'm really glad that my home country will have some tea culture going on, led by that woman for sure. This is her pick. Again, Seren Clonal. It's a first flush. It is a black tea. I know we had this conversation before. Is first flush Darjeeling really a black tea? But I guess historically it is, so we can just call it a black tea. And not offend anyone, right? Yeah. Okay. You guys convinced me. We'll do the Darjeeling. And then we'll do the side-by-side again. If you do this, by the way, please do a side-by-side with the same teaware if you can, so that you can see the difference of the preparation. Because I wouldn't have known how well the pour-over technique worked if I didn't have the side-by-side going, for sure. So please do a side-by-side if you can. Or if you can't do a side-by-side, use a tea that you know extremely well, so that if there's any difference with the pour over that you're doing, you'll be able to immediately detect it. Yeah, you know how tea goes. It's like really, really subtle differences sometimes. Okay. Impressive. That's a cooled down Bilotron from earlier, the pour over one. Almost no dryness. Very, very good. And then the more typical infusion was definitely more dry as it cooled down, which is interesting because actually I think this one was a lower temperature than this one. Typically, the lower the temperature you go with a green tea that's been infused quite hard, the more dry it gets. But actually, pour over worked really well. I'm excited. I will weigh these babies out again. 3 grams for 120. Hey Delphine, do you think I should use more tea? Because you said that you usually use less water, right? I could use less tea. I have like tea dust all over my scale now. It's not even dust, it's just Bilotron. See, there's just Bilotron fluff flying all over the place. Hooray for fluffy green teas. Okay, so we'll do 3 grams to start, and then if Delphine tells me otherwise, I will follow her lead. Thank you, by the way, Delphine. This is working out really well. I really like this new style of infusion. I'm really interested to see what other teas I could do this with. You said black teas, and then sencha, maybe some white teas, some Taiwanese stuff too. You're thinking about doing oolong, but I think the oolong balls would be a little bit challenging to open up to any significant degree with the pour over, but who knows? We won't know until we try it. Delphine says around 3 grams for 80 ml for Thailand black. Let me up the ratio then. I'm gonna add another gram. Hey Steven, can you get me some more of the Darjeeling? It's in there. Okay, so Delphine says she's doing 3 grams for 80. I'm gonna go 4 grams for 120, right? I think my math is off, but I'm still increasing the ratio. My math is off. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's okay. We will live. So 4 grams. Ooh. So I wonder what the protocol is if the leaves are kind of overflowing from the filter. No, it's the other one. Do we want to crush them a little bit? Nah, let's just leave them the way they are. Yeah. More of this guy. Neil says there's a green tea pour-over bar in Japan. Where is that? Is that Sakurai Tea Experience? Because if it is, I just want to go even more. Sakurai Tea Experience is in Tokyo. I've seen so many beautiful pictures of their space. And just the elevation of green tea preparation over on their end. I don't think we've even cracked the surface of what we can do with tea preparation yet. I mean, there's so much that even we don't practice a lot in the West that, you know, in China they do. Shiloh, you did that demonstration of Chaozhou tea brewing that I learned a lot from, even having seen Chaozhou style brewing before. Every single person who brews tea has like these little tips and tricks that they've developed over time that when I try them, I'm like, holy crap. And as always, it's not like one specific technique will suddenly change everything about your ability to brew tea, but it's this challenge of tiny steps, tiny improvements you can do to achieve what you want to from the tea. And I think the first step is getting to know the tea, you know, all the facts, like, you know, where's Darjeeling from, and where's Longjing from, and how do you tell good tea from bad tea? And then the second step, or another step after that, is given a good tea, what can you bring out from that? How can you express your personal preferences or style, or almost make like an art piece from the tea? Because the same tea in the hands of different people is a really different experience. And I feel like that's where we are right now in the tea journey, maybe? We're still learning all the time, but I've gotten the confidence over the last couple years to, okay, this is the tea. What can I do to it now to bring out what I want from the same leaves? Stephen will have a different preparation, Delphine, Shiloh, you know, Heidi. Heidi's doing the first pour over the Kamaicha already. All right. Yeah. Kev, the tea head is here. Joe says we're getting the tea woke. So, coffee friends, what's the best way to bloom this leaf now? A new challenge for this leaf is that unlike the Biluo-chan, this Darjeeling is very big. I think the first one was a little bit easier to work with because it's more even. This Darjeeling is a little bit more, you know, kind of uneven looking. Yeah. I'll just show you on my hands. You know what I mean? There's like small bits, there's big bits, there's fuzzy bits, there's leaf, like old leaf bits. And when you're dealing with a tea that's a little bit less consistent than, let's say, this Biluo-chan, the first thing that we had, see how consistent the leaves are? About the same size, some buds, some leaves, but pretty consistent, you know? So I think this will be a little bit more challenging to make sure we infuse it pretty evenly, but we can work with it. As long as you're aware of the limitations, it doesn't have to be a perfect tea, just gotta know. Yeah. Let's see. So Tyler says, I'd probably start in the center and make a spiral to the outside and just make sure it's all wet. I happened to do that just by accident earlier because I wanted to look fancy like a coffee person. Okay. Plover friends. I mean, gooseneck friends. This is the one situation where you kind of need a gooseneck, I'd say. Neil says I would pour in just enough to wet the leaves and I would wait for 30 seconds or so. Okay. And then Tyler says some people stir the coffee a time or two during the bloom. I kind of like that idea. I don't like it when tea leaves press against each other in any way. So even in a gaiwan or a pot, I'll always kind of shake them up so they're not crushing each other. You know, when you brew sencha in a pot, sometimes the sencha just compiles in this big like sencha mass. I'd like to kind of break that up so that the heat is evenly distributed. Yeah. Okay. Ready? Steven, I'm gonna brew this. First, yeah. We're at 93-ish degrees Celsius. We'll do the same kind of like minute and a half steep here. Or less, like a minute. Ready? Go. Just an even kind of steady pour. I'm gonna switch it a little bit so that all the leaves get wet. But you don't want to do that too much with Darjeeling, I feel, because you can easily extract bitterness from that stuff. We'll cover it. Next one. Make sure we remind Ryu to pour out at 130 for the control. Again, this is a first flush Darjeeling. Should be very bright, floral, just essence of spring kind of Darjeeling, right? We want the technique that helps bring out the character of the tea the most, or at least brings out it in a different way, right? So we'll do what Tyler tells me to do, which is to stir in the center and make a spiral to the outside. I'm so clumsy. I could never be a coffee maker. Okay, and then let it sit for 30 seconds. I did a pretty good job. They're mostly wet. Not all of them though. So I will go ahead and do what you said. And kind of like mix it up just so that they're even. And I don't like that the bottom leaves are getting crushed by the top leaves. This is gonna just make it a little bit more even, I think. Yeah, I like that feeling. I think intuitively this is the right thing to do. Yeah. Okay, and then it's already time to pour out this guy. Ready, friends? Yeah, ready. Hey Heidi, how's that Kamaicha doing? I'm really glad you just went for it. Super decisive. It reminds me of when Delphine was like, hey, I wonder what maple syrup infused with tea would be like. And then 10 minutes later on the Discord, we see Delphine, oh, here's this maple syrup with a hojicha and some yancha. I'm really excited to see how it goes. Oh my Jesus, I'm not even that decisive. Okay. So 1 minute 30 on this. And then we will do... I'm interested to see what the rinse tastes like. Is that okay, guys? The bloom water? I just want to see what that tastes like. Wow, that's really aromatic. You want to try that, Steven? That's just the very beginning. So This is not even what it's supposed to be yet. It's just kind of the water that was used to wet the leaves. That's very, very aromatic. Holy crap. Yeah? Okay. And then Neil says stirring a pour over slurry can increase extraction. I don't do it. I think for this particular tea, it's okay. If it's like a sencha or a very fine leaf, I wouldn't want to do it. But this leaf is so like, it's like an abstract painting, you know, there's so many leaves sticking out. I think it helped kind of just even out the wetness of the leaf batch. So I think it's okay. And then, you know what? I'm gonna get another one of these. So I'm not pouring it into too much. I wanna keep up the temperature of the liquor. Because if I pour it into here and then back, that's one more step to kind of cool down the water. Yeah, all right. So we'll do, I'm gonna try it 3 different times. So first one is already the kind of like pre-wet, and then I'll do it another time. This is number 2. So I wet the leaves just very briefly. So this is pour over number 2, same leaves, same liquor, just poured over a second time. Okay. And we get like a tiny bit of that just to see what it tastes like. And then one more time. Number 3. I'm trying my best to just make sure I'm evenly extracting everything. Because if you have a leaf or an area of the leaves that's less extracted than the others, you're going to get a little bit more kind of imbalance in the tea. This is true for any kind of infusion technique. Try to make your leaves wet evenly. You know, you can play around with that if you'd like, but fundamentally you want to extract everything pretty evenly. That's still the Bilochan. Okay, so second pour over, third pour over, same liquor, but like a pour over the third time. Ooh, much different color. Wow, I wish I could show these to you on screen. Well, yeah, you can, finally. This is the second time poured over, this is the third time poured over. And then the kind of standard infusion. I know I did use a pretty high temperature on this Darjeeling. I just tend to brew my things really, really high, so I just wanted to brew it the way that I would have brewed it normally. Okay, ready? Let's try the control first. That's a really good tea. Just whatever you do with it, that's a really good tea. Bright, floral, kind of almondy. Absolutely delicious. Fantastic. It's like a more nutty first flush Darjeeling. Some of them are extremely floral. This one's got a little bit of that nuttiness that I like sometimes. And by nuttiness, it's more of like the smell of fresh nuts. Like fresh almonds or fresh walnuts have that kind of very fragrant thing going on. This Darjeeling has it. Vanilla Obscura, welcome to Tea Practice today. Just doing some pour over. The table's super messy. I love it. Steven, here's a control. This is the first flush Darjeeling from Seren. I'm not sure if that's the name of the estate. I've never heard of them before. But it's from Teavolution in Manila. Now, our pour over. This is the second one, okay? So it was bloomed or primed or woken up, and then the second kind of go over with the same liquor. Not happy with that. Try it. It's lacking something, right? The aftertaste is nice though. Yeah, but I'm making an excuse for it. It's not where I want it to be. Hopefully the third time is better. Because the first one was good. The second one I wasn't happy with. The third time, I'm not happy with it either. It's interesting. Maybe we should do it a fourth time. It's lacking some kind of brightness. wouldn't you say, Stephen? Do you like it? I don't think I like it. There's something wrong. I don't know what's wrong, though. Let's see if I can do it one more time. So what's happening is that actually the infusion that I did, just kind of standard, is more bright and floral and aromatic and nutty. And then the one that we're having pour over is actually not that bright, which is really surprising to me because the very first steep was. That kind of bloom liquor was very, very sweet. So I don't know what's going on. It's actually quite flat, I would say. I almost want to blame the metal filter. I don't usually use a metal filter. I do have a ceramic filter. Let's try it. Pour number 4. Just troubleshooting here. I didn't like the result of the pour over here. Heidi, on the other hand, is on her 4th pour of the Kamairicha, and it's a new layer of flavor each time. Really amazing. I drink Kamairicha very often. This is definitely my new method. All right. I'm glad it's a success for you. I'm still like working on this one, but I'm glad it's working out. What the fuck? What's going on? I've never tasted that from a Darjeeling before, my friends. Never in my life have I tasted a Darjeeling like that. Isn't that weird? It's like... I have no words. I've never tasted a Darjeeling that tasted like that before. It's very, very thick, but then it's also kind of like... I don't know. How do you describe that, Stephen? It is almost metallic, you know? I don't know why this particular pour-over with the Darjeeling is yielding a more flat, kind of not that great flavor, while the typical Darjeeling preparation was a lot better. I wonder if we are kind of fighting with the fact that the leaves are very kind of unevenly infusing. I'm going to try to just very gently turn them over to see if I can get them to do something different. Sometimes I will do this with the Gaiwan as well. Yeah, let's do it one more time. I'm going to add some water to it too. Is that okay? Coffee friends, can I use a fresh batch of water to pour over the same tea? Yeah, actually let's do that. I want to try to reset it. It's just really odd right now. Interesting. It's certainly interesting, and the effects are very, very different. Now I just want to know if it's me who's making a mistake with my pour-over technique, or the leaves are not suited for the pour-over technique, or if that's just the results of what you do with the Darjeeling. Yeah. Interesting, for sure. Alright, let's try it again. Much lighter liquor. I didn't use the same liquor as before, I just did a fresh batch. That's odd too. Stephen, what is going on? That's weird. It's mysterious. Whoa. It's kind of odd, right? The texture is very interesting, but yeah. Tyler says, I've been kind of in and out. Are you brewing different pours and then drinking them separately, or combining all the pours? I've been taking a little bit of each pour cycle to the side, and it's getting worse over time. I just now did a fresh one. So number 1 I tried, it was really, really good, but light. Number 2 was okay. Number 3 was not good. Number 4 was even worse. And so I was like, screw that. So these were 3 stacked. I mean, the 4 of them were stacked together. So I used these infusions to brew the next one over. And now I'm just doing 5 because I don't know what's going on. It is mysterious. And of course we always want our experiments to work out well, but when something is going on here, it also helps as a mental challenge to try to figure out why the Bilochan is doing so well like this and not the Darjeeling First Flush. Because you would think the Darjeeling First Flush is so aromatic. The Bilochan also became aromatic and sweet and really bright. Why isn't that working with the Darjeeling First Flush? It is a differently processed tea, but the results are so different. That's weird. What is going on? There's just something off about it. Yeah, that's weird. Steven, thoughts? You guys' thoughts? What do you think is going on? I think we can theory craft all we want to. I think the next thing we need to do is just try another tea. Yeah, to see if it's just this tea that I'm not getting results from. Yeah, we only have 5 minutes though. So do we just go to like a third? Yeah, I think so. I wanna like, I wanna get down, get to the bottom of this mystery. What do you guys think? Should we try the Basili Thunder Dragon Green? Ace of Lighty, I wonder if you would taste different if you use a V-shaped pour over vessel. Like with coffee. Yeah. I don't know. I actually have one that's a little bit like more kind of, it's like U-shaped. But I didn't pick this one because the filter is a lot more fine and also less surface area for the leaves to drip down. So I'm not sure what I should do. Heidi's having more luck than I have in the second tea. Again, the first tea was totally awesome. The results are great. Second tea, not so much. So this is why we like to do, you know, the same method with different teas. Heidi says that with her Kamaicha, it's really cool to see how the leaves puff up in my filter here. And then you're getting different layers with each steep, which is nice. I would like to see that come from another tea as well. Mysterious. Yeah. So far, Bilochan, first flush Darjeeling. We should like settle the score with one more test, I would say. Charlotte says vessel shape can make a difference. Intrigued to see that alteration. Agree. I'd like to see that too. I think that the vessel shape will allow the water to cool down a little bit more as well. Neil, I would use that ceramic filter. I would like to try this ceramic filter this time because now I don't know if it's the metal that's causing the difference in the taste. I don't use metal a lot in my tea, so maybe that's why there's an unidentifiable taste. I stopped using filters like a long time ago. I just didn't like the taste they imparted in the tea. I just used the metal filter because it's closest to what Delphine's friend used in his tea preparation, and that guy knows more about tea than I do. But I want to try to see if the ceramic filter will make a difference. Yeah, let's do it with the same tea actually. Is that okay? Yeah, I think it's better. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. We'll use the same tea, same amount of leaf. Let's see if the ceramic filter makes a difference. So if those of you who are interested in seeing if we can troubleshoot this, meet us on the next Instagram live, because Instagram's going to kick us off. Because they don't think an hour is long enough for anyone else to finish their tea session. So thank you for joining us so far. If you want to continue the pour over experiments with us, hop onto the next Instagram live in just a bit. Or try it yourself at home. Whether or not you can stay. Let us know if you're going to try it. Thanks so much for tuning in for now. I'll see you in a little bit. Wait. Just wait. We're live again. That's definitely not the biggest cliffhanger you've ever had to deal with in your life, right? Just a couple seconds. Welcome to the second half of our practice with pour over techniques. Yeah, I feel like I should say my name is Ree, but yeah, I'm Ree, and I have some mysteries to decode today. For those of you just joining us on the second half, we're trying to test to see if pour over with leaves put inside the filter with the kind of water trickling down will make an interesting result in the tea. So far, yes, it's definitely been interesting. Our first tea, the Bilochan, I would say was a really big success. And I have to credit Delphine for telling me which tea to start with. She says that the green tea with the buds was a good way to go. I agree. If you're going to try this experiment, try a good green tea with kind of like nice bud material that you don't mind becoming a little bit more bright and floral, aromatic. Yeah, not necessarily floral, just more bright. Our second tea though, the Seren Darjeeling, it's a first flush Darjeeling. It's just not working out. Actually, the control infusion, the more typical infusion, is going a lot better than the pour over. But we were using metal. I want to see now if using a ceramic filter will change the result. Good. Was that good enough a result? Steven, can you get me some more of that tea? Thanks. Welcome back to Ronan and Rabin and Gabby and Heidi and Delphine and Dunix and Neil and Steven and J. Scott and the other Steven. You're the other Steven, by the way. Marjolaine, Dylan's here too. So many of you joined at the same time that it says like 3 others joined. I don't like that, Instagram. Don't call my friends others joined. Asulaiti is here and Villain Obscura. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us for the second half and helping us kind of figure out what's going on. We will use the same ratios as the first time. Yeah, I wish I could describe what was going on with that other tea. We want it to be bigger, brighter, more interesting, a better result. But honestly, the control was a lot better tasting. So we need to figure out if it was my technique, or if the tea just doesn't work well, or if the filter wasn't right, or I'm not just pouring the right way. You know, there's so many things that could be going wrong here. The only way to find out is to do it one more time. So, yeah. No other way. It's worth it though. I'm glad that we did the Gilochan first, because how much of a success that treatment was is making me really excited to try it again with something else. And you learn a lot when you struggle. I like to struggle with my tea. It's like a fun struggle. Tinkering. Let me know how you guys are doing. And if you have any ideas, comments, concerns, good wishes. I promise I won't drop you guys off the edge of the table this time. Or I don't promise. I don't know. It might happen. Marjolaine says, what are the ratios you're using? I only joined late. I want to brew along with something. We are using 4 grams to 120 ml of water. We're using 93-ish degrees Celsius. You have to remember that when you're using a pour over, the temperature will drop a little bit from the fact that the pour over spout is quite long. So 93-ish on the display. Right now we're brewing a first flush Darjeeling, again from my friend Cheryl from Manila, which is where I was born. And yeah, I was so happy to go back there, and she's like she's leading a Teavolution, it's the name of her company, in the Philippines. The Philippines is, you know, it's in Asia, it's surrounded by tea, because it's in the middle of like Taiwan, China, Indonesia, Malaysia, like all those countries have tea, but we don't have tea. And I always feel bad when I talk so much about Taiwan, I bring people to Taiwan on the tours, and inevitably people ask me, are you Taiwanese? I'm like, no. I just really like Taiwan. And there's no tea in my home country. I almost feel guilty that I'm not working better to support that kind of, you know, like I'm doing so much to spread the love of Taiwan just because I really do love it, and then I'm leaving my country behind. But that's why I went back last year after 12 years of not going back. My friend Cheryl is holding it down, and this tea is from her. It's very good. Brewing at standard turned out really, really well. I just had to figure out how to do it. Pour over. Yeah. So we will try this tea again. 4 grams of leaf, same ratio. The only thing we're switching out, really, is the filter. So the first half we were using this metal filter, and then I just didn't like the effect of the pour over. I don't know if it's a filter or not. And then a couple of you said, you know, maybe change the shape of the filter. And Neil suggested using the ceramic filter instead. So, but Delphine, I believe your friend was using a metal filter, so you know, it worked out just fine with the green tea, but maybe the Darjeeling is reacting weird with the filter. I personally don't use a filter when I use a Gaiwan. I've just taught myself to just pour really, really well with the Gaiwan so I don't spill leaves all over the place. Or if I don't do it well, I'll just eat the tea leaves. That's my punishment. So I suspect that might be why that weird taste I couldn't identify showed up in the filter, right? Because I just couldn't identify what the taste was. Wasn't it strange, Steven? It was really odd. Like a musty, kind of off flavor. It wasn't even dry or bitter or anything. It's just, yeah, not something wrong. But that's okay. It'll push us forward. So yeah, Marjolaine, join us with something if you're drinking anything so late at night over there. Thanks for joining us. Europe friends, thanks for joining us. As usual. Canadian friends, thanks for joining us. American friends, thanks for joining us. Yeah. Jeremy, as long as I'm not talking about my Korean fried rice, you should be alright. Yeah. What are we having for dinner tonight, Steven? Oh, right. We're having some buttermilk fried chicken, because Discord friends, last week I was like, what do I do with some creme fraiche? Because I just wanted to try making creme fraiche at home. I did, and then I had like a load of buttermilk that I couldn't do anything with, so we'll try some buttermilk fried chicken tonight. Over on our end, we had some tamagoyaki this morning with maple syrup. We've been subbing everything sugar related with maple syrup over the last month. It's gone really well. Yeah, I don't even have to go live about that. Okay. Now, all that extra talk is just to make sure our kettle gets up to speed. We're at 94 degrees, 93 degrees. Coffee friends told us the first thing we do is kind of just bloom it or open it up. The leaves are very dry. If you try to pour over them right now, they're not ready yet. It's like when you're a little kid and you're like, I want to just jump into the swimming pool, and all the adults are like, take a shower first, so that's what they told us. Did they tell you that? No? That's a Filipino thing, I guess. Or maybe an Asian thing. When I was growing up, like, the adults would always tell us to take a shower before going to the swimming pool so that you're, nice and ready for the swimming pool. This is a cultural exchange, I guess. Taiwan has oolong and Filipinos have stupid rules. I'm just kidding. Partially. I did have a lot of stupid rules growing up. Let me tell you that. That might just be an Asian kid thing. Or just a kid thing. Yeah. So we're gonna bloom this. Neil, I'm going to do what you're telling me to do for this one. I'm not gonna mix it up. I'm just gonna let it be. The first time I kind of mixed it up, I think this time, because the filter was so big, I was able to kind of wet all the leaves evenly. There's a lot of moving parts going on here, but if you're doing any kind of tea infusion, experiments, kind of going out of the realm of just your typical, gaiwan in and out, even when you're just brewing regular tea, try to make sure the leaves are evenly infusing. Yeah. Neil says, I think the ceramic one will drain slower, that's why I would use it. I thought that it was better to have it drain faster, actually, but Delphine's friend actually prefers it to drain slower. He has a filter that's metal but has smaller holes. I actually have one like that, but it's not that ergonomic, so this one will have to do. I do like ceramic better, a lot more. If I do use a filter, I use this one. Heidi, maple syrup is liquid of the gods. Yeah. That's true. Eric is back. Welcome. Heidi, I could taste my metal filter in the 7th pour over. I never use the metal filter usually. Me too. Almost never. Delphine's gonna strike up some Kamaui tattoo. This is awesome. Yeah. I'm glad that you guys are joining us. Okay. Let's try this little guy. Certainly much cleaner tasting, I would say. Yeah. Okay. It's not as bright as the Bilochan though. So I'm going to do what I did with the other the other session as well. Neil, can you confirm that this is the right thing to do? I'm going to pour the bloom water over the leaves. I'm going to wait for him to confirm. I'm so glad we have coffee friends to help us. I know you guys aren't just people with massive coffee sign on your heads. I'm just saying coffee friends for the ease. Like Steven's my Instagram tea boyfriend. He's more than that. He also makes really good hot chocolate with packets and formulates the Tea Curious formula really well. Yeah. Neil, I would not do that. Okay, then I'm not gonna do it. We'll put that to the side. So, unlike the first unlike the first attempt, I will use fresh water for this one. The Bilochon did fine when we used the Bloom water, but who knows? We'll see if there's a difference. I know I'm adding another factor in. I'm just excited, okay? Ideally, I should be testing it the same way I did the first time, but... Oh, it is taking a little bit more time to drain. I'm seeing the water kind of pool up a little bit. I think I'm also a little bit too high on my spout. I feel like I'm... The higher your spout is, the more kind of energy the water is kind of building to drop onto the leaves, so it's going to be more forceful. The lower and slower you can go, the more gentle the taste of the tea will be. I'm not sure if that's true for pour over, but I imagine it would be. Neil, got a confirmation on that? Should I be dropping my spout a little bit? Okay. We used fresh water for this one. Steven? Ooh! Better. Yeah. Yeah. It's bright now. Fantastic. Really, really good. Ooh, delicious. Neil says, I would leave the bloom in the vessel and the new brew would just mix into it. Oh! That makes sense. I should have done that instead. Now I want to combine them. Playing around. Wow. That's even better. Yeah. Okay. I see what you mean now, Neil. Okay. Cool. So I'm going to put the bloom back in. That's delicious. Holy crap. That's really, really good. That's really good. Holy crap. Okay, my vessel's not big enough to combine the two, but I'm going to do one more pour over. I will very gently do this one. I don't want to overbrew the Darjeeling. This is very fun, by the way. Heidi, Delphine, anyone else who's trying this out. This is very fun. It's just a very playful way of doing tea. Yes, most of the things we do for tea is for flavor or whatever, but there's just that playfulness that I really like about doing this pour over stuff. It's just fun. Okay. So I'm mimicking these being the same vessel. So I'm going to combine the first two steeps with the third steep here. I hope it's better than the first time. Yeah, that's a lot better. There's no like weird taste anymore. Yeah. I'd call it a win. That's pretty good. Yeah. I am gonna say I'm not getting as much like brightness and fragrance from it than I thought. Maybe I should put a little bit more weight into the pour. Yeah? But now I really think that the off flavor is coming from the metal filter because there's no off flavor in this one. Heidi says it's fun to see the tea leaves so well. Yeah, that's true. That's another benefit of doing this. The leaves are like right there with you. I really dig that. I'm gonna combine these guys. So coffee friends, when you're doing pour over, you basically just pour over the coffee multiple times into like a pretty large vessel and combine them. Right? Instead of like making different cups with different infusions or kind of go overs. What would coffee people call that? Faster pour should be brighter. Okay, we'll go faster. A little bit more, I'll put a little bit more weight into it. I think that I'm just babying this Darjeeling a little bit too much. It is a very good Darjeeling. If you want to bring out a little bit more kind of brightness, complexity, nice bittersweetness, a little bit more weight, a little harder and faster will be good for the tea. All right, let's see how this went. Neil says shorter bloom with a faster pour. This is a lot better, by the way, just overall. Much more clean. Delphine's also doing Kamairi cha. 5 grams, 80 degrees Celsius, 75 ml. Sweet AF. Buttery, zero bitterness Japanese green seems to work well because it drips very slowly. I think I'm trying to like reduce the amount of time that the water sits in the leaves. That might be just my stubbornness. I don't like when leaves sit in water, but I think in this preparation it's okay. Ooh, that is very bright, Neil. Thank you. That worked out a lot better. Here's the fifth pour over. If I combine it with the rest of it, it's going to brighten it up. It is very, very bright. That's interesting. This is fascinating because I think it's another way you can practice how your brewing style, the way that you pour your vessel, the approach, the kind of like pouring technique, the height of your spout will affect the way that the tea comes out. The speed of the infusion. I usually do it with the Gaiwan, but this is a lot faster, and I think pretty indicative as well of what your pouring technique will do for the taste of the tea. Much better. Yeah. Dude, I dig it. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, this is delicious. Yeah, I think we figured it out. Yay! It's really good. I'm still like, it's not as bright as a Dongting. I mean, that's the Biluochun. Sorry. Sometimes Biluochun is from Dongting in China. But the Biluochun's much brighter. I think it just did a little bit better with this preparation. This isn't bad though. Let's compare it with the standard, which has cooled down by now. Standard, and then the pour over. The pour over is still lighter actually, even with all that action we did. So this is the standard brew and the pour over brew that's been combined. Yeah, I think that I still like the standard brew a little bit better. I think it just evenly infused the leaves. But we did fix a lot of things that was wrong with the first time we tried doing the pour over with the Darjeeling. Now I'm willing to bet that with the improved technique, you probably need a tea that's relatively even in leaf shape to get a good result, because I feel like the unevenness that we're getting, kind of like the lackluster, like it's not as awesome as the Biluochun. The only thing I can think of is the fact that it's a black tea, and also the fact that the leaves are not as like even in terms of shape and size. Yeah, I am not pouring this kind of like stuff that's stuck in the filter, but I don't think that's the issue. I think it is leaf shape. So if you're gonna try this, try it out with a Chinese green tea, buds, even leaf shape. I think Kamairi cha tends to be very even as well, so that's why I think both Delphine and Heidi are getting a good result from that. Yeah. I'm getting really tea chilled out, by the way. Just a lot of L-theanine. So yeah, I think this was very, very fruitful. I'd like to try this out with more teas. If you guys do this, let me know. Neil and Tyler and everyone else, thank you so much for the input on figuring out this technique. Delphine, thank you so much also for introducing the technique to us from your friends at Weishan. And yeah, this has been really fruitful. I hope you guys had fun. Try it out yourself. It is really interesting. It's a very different approach to the tea, and the more options you have to work with the tea, the better. The Gaiwan, the Kyushu, we put a lot of effort into picking the right pot, using the right water, even using the right cups. Your own technique when you're brewing the tea is another kind of option. So, if you get your cup right, you get your brewing style right, water right, tea right, people right, your tea's gonna be really good. Now I'm just really happy personally because I have a new way to express a tea. So if I find a tea that, I'll look back to this moment and say, hey, remember that Biluochun that turned out really well this way? Applying this style to that tea just gives you more options, if that makes sense. you always want to have a lot of options and techniques and just approaches in your tea toolkit. Whether it's your pots, the water, the kettles. Yeah, just arm yourselves, guys. I hope that you guys have armed yourselves with a new technique today. Definitely still work in progress stuff, but I definitely would like to try this out some more. Yeah, Discord friends, maybe we should do a pour over party or something this coming Wednesday. It's like tea hangouts or something like that. We'll talk about it more in Discord and for y'all on Instagram Live. Number 1, be on the Discord, but number 2, you can DM me too. That's fine. Thanks, guys. Have a happy Sunday. We'll see you guys tomorrow, day 34. We've got like 6 more days left of this. Our last day for the daily lives is Sunday of next week. So if there's anything you'd like us to cover together, study together, before we go back to our regular scheduled kind of like twice a week lives, once a week lives, let us know. Yeah. Happy Sunday. Thank you. Bye.